Hello everyone, welcome to the edition of the Ohio Guys here. I'm Christian Ocampo, and today we're on location in Chicago, Illinois, in Colonel David, and today I'm joined by Jay Hickman. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's finally a pleasure to sit down and have an interview with you. We've been trying to work this out for like almost 3-4 years now, believe it or not.
All things in good time, Christian. That's my belief.
Well, since we're able to get this interview done, got some questions we're looking forward to asking you. So first of all, what is it like working in the industry today?
In a word, fun. It's a real pleasure. I think and I've answered questions like this before regarding what it's like working in the industry today versus what it was like previously, and I think many of the aspects of it are very similar. Throughout my entire career doing voiceover for anime, it has always been just such a thrill for me and an honor in many cases to be able to bring some of these incredible characters to life, or at least bring them to an English-speaking audience. So that aspect of working in the industry has just been a real treat. I think, technologically speaking, things have gotten a little bit easier over time. Like I was relaying to somebody earlier, in the olden days, in the booth we would have, a view of the monitor up in front of us so we could see the video, and then in front of us there'd be a music stand with a big paper script. And so we're looking down here and we're flipping pages. We're also looking up here to see where the mouth movements are so we can keep up. So that was some sort of challenge. These days we got two monitors right in front of each other, so you've got your script right next to your video. There's no flipping pages. It's quite a bit easier from that standpoint. So it's a little more effortless in terms of the mechanics of creating it, so we can devote ourselves more to what are we putting into these characters kind of emotionally. What are we able to give to them, from ourselves.
Right.
So all good things.
Good to hear. So since your whole career doing voices between ADV Films and Sentai Filmworks and Sound with Filmation,
Yeah.
what is your favorite show you have worked on?
So before I answer that question, I will ask you, what percentage of the interviewees you ask this question are able to name one show for you? A large percentage? Or do most of them say what I'm about to say, which is, that's an impossible question. I can't possibly choose one. I'm guessing most of the people say that. I don't know. There are so many gems. It would be very difficult to pick a favorite. But stuff I've worked on over the years that still sticks with me. Saint Seiya I did, ages ago. That was really, really special show to be a part of, just because it spans such an incredible kind of story arc, and I've been able to meet people kind of throughout the years who grew up on it, and it was really a special show to them growing up on. So that was an amazing thing to do, and it was, the process was fun. That was a Kyle Jones project, so you can be sure it was fun. We had fun with it. Also back in the day, I did Princess Tutu. That was an incredible show. Jin Ho Chung directed that one. He was terrific to work with, and the character was a real challenge for me. Prince Muto was not a character I had encountered anything like before. So it was a stretch for me, but a thrill. I mean, it was a challenge that I felt excited about rising to, and looking back on what we created, it was just a really special thing to be a part of. Very recently we're in the middle of Food Wars right now, and it would be it would be crazy not to give that show a nod. It's a remarkable show in so many ways, but being this character Joichiro, who's the cool dad and world-class chef, it's been a treat to kind of inhabit him and see what he brings to the story and how he drives it forward. So that's been a favorite.
Right. So yeah, those last shows you mentioned are about to touch upon right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a little bit like the chronological order as we like to formulate our questions. So let's go back to the ADV days. Let's talk about Elfin Light, and that's one of our favorites. So tell us, what was it like being on Elfin Light?
It was truly remarkable. There was doing that show. I'd never seen anything like it. I'm imagining for the people that have watched it and are fans of the show, they had never watched anything like it. So, I kind of sitting in the booth for the first time, being introduced to the show. This was another show by Jin Ho Chung, who did Princess Tutu. He did his best to explain it to me, but I was not prepared. So there were scenes. I didn't even watch the whole show all the way through while we were doing it. I was just doing from scene to scene, and we were skipping around. But there were scenes that I was part of that I would witness that just were deeply disturbing, and just not even having watched the thing, and being having the benefit of being in the booth and being a creator on the show. So it wasn't like I had to tell myself, this isn't real, it's not real. Just cool down. So I had the benefit of knowing I was helping to create the show so that it was not real, but it still was like, my God. So it was incredible from that standpoint, and it was one of the earlier characters where I was really feeling something while I was delivering these lines. It was definitely emotionally affecting. So it was a standout from that point, no doubt.
Yeah. What a gore fest it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love it. So taking a step back from the whole violence or that gore, let's go to the comedy.
Sure.
Let's talk about Cromartie High School.
Okay.
What was it like on that show?
Let's talk about that. So this was another. I hope it'll happen again. I plan to invite it. So Cromartie High School, it was just another. This is another show that was unlike anything I've ever seen. And as it was introduced to me, this was a show directed by Stephen Foster. And so when I first got to the studio that day, sat down in the booth, he talked me through the show. He explained, what it was, high school for delinquent boys or whatever. They're in a gang, they're tough. And he was like, and their leader is a robot who thinks he's a boy. I'm like, okay. And he was like, Jay, I gotta tell you, I think this is probably what I would consider the greatest anime character of all time. I'm like, wow, no pressure. So let's do it. And so it was a hoot. I mean, you can imagine. It was, we worked through the voice together. He knew me and what I could do, so he had some ideas. And so we sort of tested out a couple things before we settled on, what we finally settled on. Just like, well, I'm sure you can manage. And so it was hilarious. And so, yeah, they get up to all sorts of ridiculous hijinks. And just, the whole kind of concept or conceit of Mekazawa doesn't realize he's a robot. They just hit on that again and again and again. Finally, we've got to get him to admit that he's a robot, and he never will. It's perfect. Just a gem.
It is. It's one of our favorites comics that we've seen. It's just everything about it, like the Freddie Mercury, the gorilla, just everything about it. It's a perfect comedy to just have in just one place.
Yeah, just when you think you've seen everything, they'll drop another bomb on your head. It's a treat.
All right, and another show that was directed by the man that video bombed us, Air Gear. What was it doing that show?
Air Gear. I don't remember anything about Air Gear. Hey, John. Can you tell me what it was like for me working on Air Gear?
What was it like working on Air Gear?
Yeah.
With you?
Yeah.
Pure hell.
Yep. That's right.
Pure hell. That's what started me on the road to binge drinking.
Thank you. That reminds me. Yes, Air Gear. It was a crap show.
Yeah. Crappy director, crappy writer. No, in all honesty, working on that show was a lot of fun. We had a really great time, and Jay played an absolutely brilliant character that it reminded me of Sting. And so when I talked to Jay, I was like, dude, I want you to play this character. It's like Sting. And he's like, all right, you know, and he did this wonderful British accent, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. It's a funny show. It's weird, but I remember I don't know if you're part of the chant, but it's about these roller skating gangs, and one of the main character, who apparently wants to become a bird, I don't know, anime, but he's trying to do this thing, but their chant was, kill him dead. And I'll never forget the writer asking me, it's Clint Bickham, and he asked me, he goes, why did you change that to kill him dead? I don't understand that. And I go, I just thought it was funny. Oh, okay, thank you. Anyway, but it was a fun show.
Yeah. So, what he said.
Okay.
That's how Air Gear was.
All right. So one of your favorites that I'm about to ask you, Francis Tutu,
Yeah.
tell us, what was that working on that show?
So that was amazing. It was. This is another show by Jin Chung, who had directed me in Elfenlied, and so this character Prince Muto was definitely a departure for me in terms of characters to voice in a show, and the show was also, you know, just night and day different from other things I've done. So it's, for people that haven't seen it, it's a gorgeous, beautiful show. The score is just hauntingly beautiful, and the character was a challenge for me because, first of all, his voice is in a very different place from my natural speaking voice, but also he is, for reasons I won't get into here, he goes through a lot of the show without his heart. His heart is magically removed, and so he is emotionally flat for a lot of the show. And slowly, episode by episode, he starts to regain some emotions one by one. And so with each successive episode, he is going through life and having interactions with people with a tiny bit more emotion than he had last time, and different types of emotions. So in one episode, he's got like zero emotion except 1% guilt. And in the next episode, he's got zero emotion except 1% guilt and 1% loneliness. And in the next episode, he's got 1% guilt, 1% loneliness, and 1% anger. So it's just like, keeping that balance was a real challenge, and I really relied on Jin to kind of, you know, get the calculator out, and I'm like, what percentages am I working with in regard to emotion right now, today? Like, tell me what we're doing. So it was an enriching experience, and to be able to look back on what we created, you're so proud of it. It was just such a gorgeous show.
All right. Now moving to the Sentai questions.
Sure.
Starting off with one of my favorites out there, Dog Horizon. What was like working on that show?
It was a fun one. So this is a show by Kyle Jones, and you know, the concept was introduced to me about, you know, gamers who get trapped in the game, and we certainly talked about, you know, the kind of the cultural importance of this genre in Sword Art Online, and how is it different, how is it the same, and what are we doing with it, and how are we going to make it special. And so, you know, it was fun to be a part of that, because, you know, I've enjoyed these, you know, in the past, these multiplayer online role-playing games, and so I kind of had a sense of, you know, what the characters are after and what they enjoy, and so, but the conceit of being trapped in the game and figuring out what to do next was interesting. And, you know, Krusty is a smart ass, and you know, he's got some skills to back it up. So like that was it was fun to be able to kind of have some swagger throughout that show, and in the delivery of the lines, and he's like courting the princess and just crushing it. So yeah, it was a fun one.
Definitely one of my favorites. I just love everything about it. So the name Krusty, I have to everything about the name itself, Krusty, because I think about Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons.
Exactly, I'm sure everyone does, and he's nothing like that. And so Yeah, he has to rise above this silly name he has.
All right. So since you got to play a robot, now you got to play a bird. So tell us, what was it like working on Time of Cromartie?
Okay, so yeah, Darryl was my first bird. He was my first talking bird. He was my first royal talking bird, and then he was my first incredibly fat royal talking bird. So yeah, he was hilarious, and it was a treat working with Chris Ayres on this show, particularly because he's so generous with helping or allowing me to help create the character. So, you know, we were able to talk about it together at length in terms of who this character was going to be, what he contributes to the show, and driving the story arc forward. And so, you know, he really gave me a lot of room to kind of figure out who Darryl would be and how he would change. And so, you know, where he starts, you know, his story arc is kind of an interesting one because he starts as being this really pompous and kind of imperious royal bird, and then he's adopting his family, and he discovers mochi, and he becomes highly addicted to mochi, and he starts to he starts to get invested in this girl and her friends and his family. So it was really neat to see kind of how he changed, but throughout the whole thing, he's ridiculous. And you know, there's lots of laugh lines. Like I was able to. The sky was the limit in terms of hamming it up and just being an absolute dude with this character. And so I lavished in that. It was a huge treat to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely beautifully animated and just cute little show. Even for all ages out there who are new to anime, I recommend Time of Cromartie as a way to kind of like start things out.
Great family-friendly show for sure. Yeah.
All right, so it is 2019 as we record this.
Yes.
But let's talk about 2015, where Sentai was able to get their first show on Toonami,
Yeah.
and that was A Kami Got Killed. So tell us, what was it like working on that show, especially that it was on national TV?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know that when we were recording it. We didn't realize we didn't yet know it was meant for Toonami. So we were just you know, the experience of being on the show itself was remarkable because it's a highly intense show. You know, it's got a satisfying story arc. There's lots of characters and kind of side plots to keep track of. And you know, my character, Dr. Stylish, was another just sort of outrageous character, and I was given a really long leash on that one, just like go nuts. He's very flamboyant, pompous, arrogant, all of those things, and I was just they let me go hog wild with kind of creating this character and deciding what he would do and how he would treat other characters. So yeah, it was super fun to be a part of, just period. And then when we found out it was going to be on Toonami, it was just like boom. So it was exciting. Of all the shows that I've been a part of, like for this one to be the first to go on Toonami, like nice choice, good choice. So Kyle Jones, wanted to make the most of this opportunity that we were going to be debuting on Toonami, and wanted help from the cast as much as we could to promote that. And so this kind of started a tradition for us with live tweeting these shows. So I had never been on Twitter. I had no interest in being on Twitter. He was like, "You should really be on Twitter." I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, we're promoting the show, and then when it debuts, I'm going to be live tweeting, and I'd love your help live tweeting it. So it'd be great if you could be on Twitter in time for that, wink, wink, so you can live tweet." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So he literally, I was like at his house the night of the first episode that Dr. Stylish was going to be in, and he's literally helping me set up my Twitter account. So, with like 30 minutes to go, I got Twitter set up finally, and like show comes on, and so creating my handle, I was like, I tried at Jay Hickman, it was already taken. So I'm like, what? So how do I modify this? So because I was only getting this Twitter account for Dr. Stylish, I chose at Jay Hickman MD as my handle. It had not yet been taken. And so people always ask me, they're like, are you a doctor? Like, why is there MD on your handle? Like, it's all because of Dr. Stylish, because of this show, because I joined Twitter to live tweet The Kame Ga Kill, and I've been live tweeting ever since.
And I'm glad you are. It's always great to have you on social media. Like, just your presence alone, like it's so refreshing. It's hard to explain, but personally, me, especially me doing interviews, I was like seeing actors like you, just having fun with like fans, like on social media.
Yeah,
it's just a great place to.
That's what it's all about. I think it's a fun place to interact. It's a fun the shows that we're promoting are a lot of fun. It's fun to promote them. It's easy to promote them. So I'm glad to have that channel to do that.
All right. Next show, this one is also on Tsunami as we speak, and then hopefully the next seasons will follow up. Food Wars.
Yes.
So as this one is, third one should be coming out on DVD very soon. But just tell us about this stuff you worked on so far.
Yeah. So the character is Joichiro Yukihira, or Saiba, as he's sometimes known. So he's, and it was introduced to me this way when I first got in the booth, like, this guy is the cool dad. I'm like, fantastic. It was the role I was born to play. So, yeah, he's a world-class chef, famous across all continents, and he's got a very promising young son who's a chef. And so, yeah, so it's a treat always working with Kyle Jones. John Swayze over there is a big presence in the show. And then Blake Shepard, it's always a delight working with that guy. So Blake plays Soma Yukihira, who is Joichiro Yukihira's son. So we get some good father-son time going. And he is very cool, the character Joichiro. So it's fun to embody him and kind of, the way he just goes through life without a care in the world. And he's got, so much incredible skill just to back up his very cool as a cucumber attitude. So it's fun to be part of a character like that who's just kind of rolling through life, like everything's cool and chill and easy. So that was a cool thing. And obviously for people, that have seen the show will understand this. If you haven't seen the show yet, in some regards, it resembles a show that you would find on the Food Network. Like, it is really buttoned up in terms of, showcasing ingredients for these recipes, and the artistry, the art and the animation on the show is incredible in terms of the way they depict the food. Like, it looks delicious. Like, I will so often come across people who are like, I can't watch that show until after I've eaten, because I'm like starving while I'm watching the show. So I have to have eaten a full meal and then I can watch it. True enough, like the show is so beautifully done. So it was being a part of it. Watching the scenes, it's like it is mouthwatering, and so it's a really, really cool show.
Yeah, I just love the show, the food, just everything about it. And Sentai did tease us for a while when the dub was going to come out, so that took a little longer. So I'm glad it came out. Season 3 is about to roll out. Then 4 and now 5, and we still have not even covered those seasons in this interview. So hopefully next time around,
sure,
we get 4 or 5 sometime in the future, sometime.
We'll talk about it later, absolutely.
And since you mentioned Blake Shepard, you are working with him at Dance Productions with Robot Girl.
Yeah.
So tell us, what's it like working on a passion project with Blake Shepard?
It's been really exciting and thrilling to see all this come together. He told me about this years ago. We were at some social function and he was like, I'm thinking about making my own anime. I'm like, that sounds like a super idea. It's like, and I'd like you to be a part of it. I'd like you to play the dad. Like, this is a, kind of running theme for me. Um, but he's like, it's about a girl who fights intergalactic robots, and you'll be her, inventor father. I'm like, lay it on me. I'm ready. And so it took a while, to kind of pull it together and create everything. And so, his process is quite meticulous, and he has really invested a lot of time and kind of passion in this. And so I understand that it's taken a while for him to get everything right. So I understand, why it takes some time. But yeah, it's been being able to get in for the first sessions to record that, to see what it looks like and how it's coming together.
Beautiful.
It's great. All put together, and there's stuff online already, and there's you can go to Patreon and Robot Girl, and you can see quite a bit of it already. But as soon as everything's ready to go and kind of you can sit down and watch a bunch of episodes, I think it's going to be a really special experience for people.
Yeah, same here. You know me as a patron already.
Yep.
I'm looking forward for the whole thing to be completed. So yeah, hopefully 2020 will be the year.
Indeed, we're excited.
All right, and now we have a fun little question that we'd like to ask everyone here. If you could be any character you have played in real life, who will you be? And you can make a match.
Sure. Probably partially because he's on the top of my mind, having just discussed him, and also because he is very cool. Probably Jerichiro. I enjoy cooking. I'm decent in the kitchen. Okay. Obviously, he is a master chef. So to be able to walk into a kitchen and just like survey like what's on the shelves, what's in the fridge, what's in the freezer, like just pull all this stuff together and create a masterpiece. Like I'd love to be able to do that. Like to have his sort of skill and to see the effect that his food has on people, that would probably be a kick to be able to do that. So I will choose, for now, Jerichiro Saiba.
Okay, good. So, is there anything else coming out that you can talk about?
Sure.
Or anything you want to plug in at this time?
Yeah, so it was just announced today, literally today, Oh Maidens is out. The dub is out for Sentai Filmworks, and it is on High Dive at HIDIVE, highdive.com. You can go see the show. So this is a beautiful kind of slice of life school show about a group of young girls who are coming into their own in this school through joining the literature club. And I play the school principal, who is not having it. He is cracking down on the literature club. He's not having that nonsense in his school. So it was a fun. It's been a fun show to be a part of. That's just out. And then recently introduced Funimation show is Legend of the Galactic Heroes. So that's a kind of old classic show that is now out with its season 2, and I get to play a very interesting character named Arthur Lynch in that one. You're not quite sure what's going on with this guy, where we meet him in the story. So I'm eagerly awaiting my next session on that show as well, that I can personally find out what he's up to, because I don't know either. So that's a show probably worth checking out.
No, definitely. Old Maidens. I've been waiting for that one for like almost a month or two. I'm actually happy. Congratulations that you are now part of the cast.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, so I'm looking forward. As soon as the whole episode's released, I will be binging it like crazy.
I think you can do it now.
I will. I get time after this weekend.
Yes, all in good time.
All right, and last question before we end this. Any Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other social media for the fans to contact you or just reach out to you?
Yeah, I am not a social media maestro, but I am on Twitter. That's probably the best one for me. I keep most active there, and certainly with all the comings and goings of anime and conventions and stuff, that's where I'm usually releasing news. So that will be the best one. If you don't remember from when I mentioned it 10 minutes ago, it's at Jay Hickman MD. It's my name spelled out with an M as in Mary, D as in doctor at the end, on Twitter at Jay Hickman MD.
Well, thank you, sir, for finally getting this interview
You bet.
with us.
It was worth the wait.
Yeah, it definitely was. So, patience is virtue, and I'm happy that we finally got to get this, sit down interview with you.
Yes.
And to end this, I want to thank everyone here in the Ohio, all the fans out there for tuning in to this edition of the Ohio Guys, and thank you to Cromartie for having this convention. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.